I think at this point it's no secret how I feel about Candace Owens. However, I came across an interesting clip last week that really blew up on Twitter where she was talking about Alex Jones. Let's take a look at this and then we'll come back and do some talking.
I want to be very clear about Alex Jones. I will crawl over broken glass and give him everything I earn. If all he needs is someone to pay the salary, leave it to me. Leave it to me. I'll get a second job to pay whatever salary he wants to be the press secretary. If he's like, I'm gonna need $500,000 a year.
So look, at the end of the day, talking about Alex Jones and like secretly believing in all the stuff that he peddles is a lot of fun. And I'm talking like the really crazy stuff, like Pizzagate, adrenochrome, Clinton's eating babies. Like, it's a lot of fun to talk to with our homies and with our racist uncle during the holidays. However, the interesting thing with Alex Jones is I think when we get into a place where we secretly do believe those things, and I don't mean like in sort of a fun, like, oh, let's just like talk some shit type of way. I mean like really, really believe it. We believe that our government and our entire society is upheld by evil cabals and elite Jewish bankers. It's a bit problematic, and it's not because it's problematic because of the optics or because it's not PC. It's not that. The problem is when you live your life that way and you think that there's this global conspiracy that's out to get you, it gives you a lot of ammo and a really strong ability to be able to point and say, oh, that thing over there is the reason why my life isn't working out. Like, I'm not responsible. I'm doing the best I can. Like, these evil bankers, these evil people are trying to hold me down. That's problematic because once you start doing that, you literally become no better than someone on the side of BLM, on the side of like super hardcore leftist liberals who claim that oppression and their oppression has destroyed their entire lives and is the result, is the reason why they haven't actually gotten any results in their lives thus far. And that's not a place that you want to be, because if you go around perpetually thinking of yourself as a victim, which in my mind, this is the right's version of victimhood, then you kind of run the risk of never really getting anywhere in life because everything that's happening to you is other people's fault, which makes you powerless in situations that you do have control over, that you could exercise control inside of. But because you view yourself as a victim, as perpetually pushed down by these evil bankers, you never actually really take the steps that you know you need to take in order to improve your life. So now, back to Candace. I think when it comes to Candace, she's incredibly intelligent. She's very well spoken. She's quick. She's faster than me in terms of, you know, her ability to have a conversation in the moment to just shoot back quickly. Maybe that's because, you know, she has 10 years of practice and experience doing that type of thing. But she's intelligent. She's quick. She's quick-witted. And that makes me ask the question of, you know, why espouse something like this? Why espouse that having Alex Jones as White House press secretary would, you know, this would somehow be a good thing? Because I don't think that this would be something that would really elevate that part of the executive office. I think we all probably agree that if Alex Jones was the one standing up there day in, day out, talking to the press, there would be a part of us that would kind of cringe, that would kind of feel ashamed, that would kind of feel like we took a little bit of a step back, because Alex Jones is fun to talk shit about with friends. But when he's representing your government, or the idea of him representing your government is seriously put forth in a real way from someone who has a massive audience, and even if she's being a little bit tongue-in-cheek, does her audience really know that? From the comments on this video, it doesn't seem to be the case that you know, people are aware that she's being tongue-in-cheek. If she is, I doubt that she is. I genuinely think that this is something that she's saying would be a good idea. And I then have to wonder what the motivation is to espouse this type of thing in public when you have such a large audience. And there are two reasons that I can come up with. The first reason could be that she's an actual psychopath, that she actually wants to see the world take a step back, to watch the world burn, and to have like America be totally enraptured by this idea of adrenochrome, Clinton's eating babies, etc. I don't think that's the case. I actually don't think that Candace Owens is a psychopath. She doesn't occur to me that way at all. However, I think the second option is much more likely, and the second option is that, you know, it's based on the fact that causing the world to burn and making everything into a nihilistic circus is ultimately a profitable business. And, you know, this reminds me of, you know, the show Fallout that just came out. I was actually just watching it over the weekend. Really cool show. But a big plot point in the show is that the huge multinational corporation called Vault Tech, which builds all the vaults around the United States, they actually talk about, you know, dropping a nuclear warhead themselves in order to start World War III, because it's the only way that they make more money, because they're in the business of selling vaults. And, you know, I think with something like this, when we're talking about Candace, is, again, it's very profitable to create a brand where everything you're talking about is just making the world look like a nihilistic circus. And I have special insight into that, because that's what I did with my brand for a year. And I didn't do it because I was trying to consciously manipulate my fans. I think I was doing it because I saw that it was working, and there was this anger, there was this fury, there was this rage that I wanted to release into the world, and there were certain truths about the world that I really, you know, felt like needed to be spoken out loud. Otherwise, like the evil shadow cabals would win. But the farther I got into that, and the more money I made from it, the more I realized that the only reason why I was fixating on these things in the first place was because I myself was in a really bad place. I went through a pretty bad divorce in 2020, and on top of, you know, COVID, like, those were two pretty tricky things for me to have to deal with. And in order to cope with that, I became an alcoholic. Like, I truly became an alcoholic for about 2 years. This was the type of thing where I was going out, you know, 7 nights a week, getting 10 cocktails a night, staying out until 4 a.m., getting up for work, being at work by 9 a.m., and then just rinsing and repeating for weeks, months on end. And, you know, once I decided to go sober, I realized that in retrospect, I realized there was a lot of that anger, that fear, that sadness that I had suppressed with alcohol that was still hanging around from COVID, from the world kind of falling apart, and from my world falling apart as well with my ex-marriage. And that was the period of time that I started Anti.Prophet. That was the period of time where, you know, I was like, okay, let's actually do this. I'm sober now. I can actually put my effort and energy into something like, you know, creating, you know, my own channel, my own brand. And, you know, I was trying a lot of different ideas, and the first thing that actually really, really worked was, you know, commenting on sort of edgy, red pill, alt-right content. And again, there was a big part of me that really believed this stuff at the time. And as a result of that, I really felt like I was doing like the Lord's work by creating all these videos to expose to, you know, men across the country, across the world, about like all of the evil conspiracies that were going on in the background. But I think the farther into my sobriety I got, the less fearful, the less scared, the less angry I became. And I realized at a certain point, when I was kind of making the most money, that I don't know, I didn't want to do that anymore. And I'm sure a lot of you here probably felt that. And it's not because I had like a big like political change of experience or change of opinion. It's just that when you really just focus on these negative things in the world, let's say even if they're true, like, what are you going to do about it? Are you going to go out and violently overthrow your government in order to get the evil cabals and evil bankers out of the system? Probably not. Well, then the other option is, you know, moving out of the US so that you don't have to like participate in the system. That's an option. The other option is running for office and really trying to get these people that you believe are running the world out of positions of power. But the issue arises when you don't do any one of those three things, right? So then the question that you have to ask yourself is, why are you fixating on the world being run by evil cabals in the first place? What benefit does that give you? And I think that harkens back to what I was saying at the beginning of the video, which is it allows you to not have to take responsibility for your life. And I don't think it's any coincidence that so many of us on the right for a number of years pointed at people on the left and said, oh, these people don't want to take responsibility for their lives. They just want to complain and talk about oppression all day and night. Yet here we are on our side of things talking about how we're continually oppressed by the evil cabals and the elites and the bankers and the Jews and like all of it. I don't think that it's a coincidence. I think, you know, this is like a very Jungian idea that when you see a problem in someone else and you articulate it, all you're doing is talking about a part of yourself that you haven't fully integrated into your psyche as of yet. It's a part of you that you reject. It's a part of you that you're afraid of. And so you project it out onto other people because you can't properly deal with it inside of your own psyche because it has to do with you. Interesting idea. Now, the last thing that I think I would say here is this. I don't create this video necessarily to you know, criticize Candace Owens really all that much, or to criticize Alex Jones. It's not that. I think I simply create this video for the purpose of trying to shine some light on the fact that, you know, maybe viewing the world as something that is always out to get you allows you to view yourself as a bit of a victim, so that you don't have to take responsibility for the things in life that you actually have power over, that you can actually move forward with. And I think a big reason why Candace Owens and Alex Jones have so much appeal across like the conservative ecosystem is not because conservatives are stupid, not because they're conspiracy theorists, and not because they're bad people. I don't think that at all. I just think that we're living through a really difficult time in human history where there's so much content coming at us left and right that it's nearly impossible to make sense of the world. And it's going to get worse. You know, it's about to get worse with AI content. Within 2 years, we're not even going to know if the content we're watching is real, if it's an actual person. And that's going to be really, really hard. And, you know, in order to deal with that frustration, to deal with that fear, we're going to find ourselves projecting our problems onto things out in the world in order to cope with the new reality in front of us, because our brain hasn't evolved to actually deal with this. We don't know how to deal with it. And I think the best thing that we can do to prepare for that going into the future is to just get offline, probably, or at the very least start to curate your social media feeds so that you're only consuming content that brings light to your life, that brings joy, that brings connection. Because when you're just down the rabbit hole with Alex Jones or Candace Owens all the time, and you're so far down the rabbit hole that when she says, oh yeah, Alex Jones would be a great White House press secretary, and it occurs to you as a good idea, it might be an indication to you that, you know, maybe it's time to take a step back and just kind of go outside, touch some grass, and start focusing on things that, again, just bring you joy. Because when we're in the place where we think stuff like that is a good idea, or where we believe that Brigitte Macron is a woman, or that you know, there's a big Jewish conspiracy to basically enslave us all, it's a really difficult way to see the world. And I think more times than not, it's an indication that we ourselves are hurting. And I say that from experience. I've been there. I've been that guy. So there's nothing for me to even criticize here. I think I'm just trying to say that if you're in this place, I empathize with you, and I would encourage you to maybe just take a look at, you know, things that are a little bit brighter, things that bring you a little bit more direction, a little bit more focus, and a little bit more motivation and discipline to move forward on the things that actually make a difference in your life. Because you have so much power, you have so much control over where you go in the world. You are powerful, you are unique, you are wonderful. And if you're religious, you were made in the image of God. That gives you power, real power, to move forward in your life with. So I think ultimately at the end of the day, if discipline is something that you want to get a little bit of help with, then, you know, check out Metamorphosis down in the description below. We'd love to have you as part of the program. But I think the last thing that I'll say here to leave you with some food for thought is don't succumb to the victimhood complex on any side of the political aisle. It's something that will honestly destroy your life and will make you angrier and angrier and angrier, while making you lonelier as well. Don't do that to yourself. Don't do that to your friends. They love you. They care about you. And you owe it to yourself, and you owe it to society to bring out the best, brightest, and most focused version of yourself. Now, all this being said, if you want to take this a step further and really understand how content creators like Candace Owens Alex Jones, Hamza, Iman Ghatzi, Tate, and even myself at certain points in the past use marketing in order to hack your attention, then check out this video right here. I think you're really gonna like it.